Not many people get the chance of living during an active phase of their country's development. Those who do play a part in bringing about this development enjoy a rare and memorable experience as they help spin the wheel of progress. I had always wanted to be part in some way of a huge engineering project so that I would have something to tell my children and grandchildren. This is my chance. The chance of a lifetime. Tomorrow I'm leaving for Aswan to share in the building of the greatest engineering feat since the pyramids, the Aswan High Dam. That is why I spent the morning today beside the huge pyramids, seeking inspiration from the hundreds of blocks rising on high. Tomorrow I will bring my modest share to an equally gigantic edifice, 16 times as huge as the pyramid. Million cubic meters of building materials. We need 16 such pyramids to control the waters of the Nile. Who would believe it? Who would believe that the gently flowing waters need such a mass to leash them? It brought to mind the long struggle to harness the Nile. That struggle has begun, and yet it really began 5,000 years ago. I remembered the words of Herodotus. Menes diverted the Nile and set up a dam to protect Memphis from the inundations of the great river. That was man's first victory over the river waters. I recalled the historian's description of Fayoum, the green paradise in the desert, created by the Nile and the workings of man. Amenemhat III set up a great dam 40 kilometers long in Fayoum and was thus able to rehabilitate 27,000 acres of richly fertile soil. And to this day, Fayoum's famed water wheels help irrigate the land which the ancient Egyptians wrested from the desert 40 centuries ago. The mighty river flows on, bearing witness to historic events. Picture follows picture in my mind's eye as I recall the most important task in which Egyptian engineers participated earlier this century to control the waters. It is a wondrous sight to see the waters stored behind the Aswan barrage, waiting to be set loose to serve the Egyptian farmer and peasant as it thunders through the barrage gates. With the mighty flow of water is released a surge of power that flows through cables and lines to factories and homes. The Aswan barrage is a mammoth work, but the high dam is something else. The barrage retains 5 million cubic meters of water, but the high dam will retain 130 billion in a huge lake stretching twice the distance between Cairo and Alexandria, and even more. It is a remarkable feat. The high dam, the dream of generations of men, dreams and hopes, and tomorrow I will be in Aswan. A new day dawned as I journeyed to Aswan. Green fields on either side. These lands depend on basin irrigation and so remain fallow for many long months. Now the high dam will change all that. The high dam will provide water to cultivate 1 million acres 3 times a year instead of only one crop, ensuring perennial irrigation. It represents the dawn of a new age over our land. Supplying the needs of farmers in this whole area, the high dam will supply water for 1 million new acres and help generate 2.5 times the present amount of electric power, bringing in a revenue of £234 million of annual national income. All of which will reflect on the people and their standard of living. The riches cast by the Nile into the sea will transform the arid lands into green valleys, deserts into fields. My thoughts are racing ahead of time. Aswan at last. The first thing I wanted to do was reach the site of the dam. The car drove through the desert and hills. On either side, the hills made me think of the thousands of men, the equipment that helped cut this road. A train chugging to the site along the track which borders the mountains. The days and thought that engineers and workmen must have spent on that line alone under canvas. Preliminary work began in 1955, and each day the massed efforts reach out further afield, bringing new buildings in progress. All this was set up in hills unventured by man before, but the will to work and build triumphed over every hazard, and man's determination split the rocks and surmounted all obstacles. The car I was in made for the temporary wharf south of the dam site. Yes, everything had been carefully studied and planned. Now the car was high at the mountaintop, overlooking the location where the mammoth dam will rise. Here stands a memorial, and it brought to mind the words of our head of state when work was inaugurated on the dam on January 9th, 1960. The new lands to be irrigated by the dam are vitally important objectives. The power to be generated is equally important. Yet the true worth of the dam is its value as determination, willpower, and perseverance. I looked over the area. Here are to be built 16 pyramids. Here will be erected the high dam, the hope of millions of generations. The Nile furrowed its way here through the mountains, smashing rocks and mountains. But the time has come for this picture to change. It is up to us to move the mountain into the path of the river and completely harness the waters that flow. Move the mountain? What an inspired idea, nearer to myth than truth. But science can make miracles. Over on the far side of the river, a small house atop the hill overlooking the waters. What could it be? Is it an ancient pharaonic temple? The answer was soon supplied. It was the research laboratories, soil research. And I was able to visit the building. Thousands of specimens from deep down in the riverbed examined by the scientists and technicians with the most modern equipment. The tests they are carrying out help study the strata at the location of the dam and in the area being tunneled on the eastern bank. For years, the research will continue to protect the dam during and after erection. Science will ever be vital to progress and stability. The day waned, and I had to return. I had been in Aswan several months and seen how life changed around me and how my very feelings had changed as I saw all that was going on around me. I came here as an individual full of my own importance, the same feeling an architect gets if he were building some prince's palace or engineering a block of flats in Cairo. But now things are different. Hundreds of other engineers were working on the site before I came here. Thousands of workmen without whose efforts I would never have found my way. Now I feel that I am one of a large team, working together to realize a great achievement, serving not only one person, but serving millions. I join those digging the open channels. Each day sees the army of technicians and men swarming towards the area. The whole area comes to life. Cars advance to forward positions. Drilling rigs go up at the various levels of work, from the waterline to the mountaintop. Each day, the rigs take up new positions to drill into the mountain, cramming in explosives that eventually will blast away the whole mountain. Drilling far into the heart of the mountain needs experience and knowledge. Our technicians and workers have managed to learn fast by experience and have taken up their positions beside the machines and equipment, operating them skillfully. It is their very determination that realizes a new victory every day. a victory over nature as the rocks turn to clay in their hands. When drilling is complete, the lorries move from the arsenals loaded with dynamite and other explosives. Carefully and slowly, they move along the route through the hills. Any slight turn or bump makes the heart beat faster. I know that every precaution has been taken for the security of trucks and men, but still, I can't control my heartbeats as they crawl slowly forwards. When the trucks reach the site, the drilling rigs have been removed. And the men hurry to distribute the explosives to the various drill holes. The explosives are rammed home, fuse lines trailing out from the depths of the mountain. And the work continues until all the drill holes are primed. The men withdraw from the area. The last car leaves, pulling away from the site. The rubble settles slowly. The reverberations die away. There is a sensation of conquest. The rocks have been overcome. The obstacles are blasted out of the way. We have beaten imperialist attempts to halt progress in our country. The convoys are on the move again to continue the work. Bulldozers move to shift the wreckage that was once a mountain. A mountain that each day loses 12,000 cubic meters of rock. The mountain is destroyed to help open the channel, which will be 1,835 meters long and 50 wide, gradually growing to 80 meters at the entrance to the tunnels. The bulldozers heave, and the trucks move the rubble. This rubble will be stored for the next phase of the operation. It will help build the dam. The day will come when the rubble is moved again to be thrown into the mighty river. And the fable will have come true. A tunnel 642 meters long is being excavated to facilitate later excavation of the bypasses. In the heart of the desert, on the western bank of the Nile, another operation is in hand. It needs immense quantities of sand to help build the partial dam on the other bank. How can these be moved? That is where the waters of the Nile are pumped to compress a mixture of sand and water. Special machines draw the mixture into pipelines across the desert. Halfway along the pipelines is a booster station. Once again, the sands are mixed with water and piped to the site of the partial dam. This piping saves the energy of thousands of workmen and saves on transport from the western to the eastern banks. The pipelines across the river to the entrance of the bypass. All this work is being done with full-hearted hope, in anticipation of the day in which the high dam will be complete. The erection of the high dam is not an easy task. It needs 9 years to complete. 9 years of hard work and determination, fortitude and patience. Nights are linked in labor so that we can all see the dawn of a new tomorrow breaking over our nation. Thousands of workmen and engineers work night and day to bring to reality the dreams of millions. Tomorrow, when the high dam is a reality, there will emerge a day of plenty. 1 million acres of rich earth, another million transformed from basin to perennial irrigation, power to drive away the darkness in the villages, power to make the factories and plant hum in the towns. The real objective of the high dam is to bring to reality the goal of our leader, Gamal Abdel Nasser, to build a nation providing prosperity for its people and to those around them.